And also for the world. So here we are now recording. Again, this is Google Sheets is a gem. So for the last and final time, download the Performance Matters app if you have not already. I will give you a QR code at the end of your session for you to scan and get credit. If you need to know how to do this, you can check out the link at the bottom. If you have no idea what this is about, feel free to email my dear friends Lauren, Brian, or Jill, and they'll be happy to direct you to what you need to do. All right, moving along. My name is Alicia Ray. I am the lead digital learning and media innovation facilitator at Meadowview Magnet Middle School in Surry County Schools. I am in Northwest North Carolina, up at the Virginia border. If you have no idea where Surry County is, it is Mayberry. All right. We literally right now, because it is Thursday, so the influx is coming. We have all kinds of tourists that come in to check out the Andy Griffith Museum and ride in the squad car and check out all the things. We got Floyd's Barbie shop. Barbie, oh my. Floyd, that's a whole different store. We got Floyd's Barber Shop. Floyd's Barbershop, we've got Opie's Candy Store. We do have a snappy lunch that has the best pork chop sandwiches in the world. We've got all that stuff here in good old Mount Airy, North Carolina. That's the actual name of our town. It's not actually called Mayberry, but that's where I'm from. Lead Digital Learning and Media Innovation Facilitator basically means that I have the greatest gift in education ever. I've been given the greatest gift in that I get to work with students and teachers. We share students in that I get to be their school librarian. We do research, we do literacy, we do all the things that a school librarian does, and so much more. It's amazing. I love it. I also get to work with their teachers as their digital learning coach, and work with them to co-plan and co-teach all kinds of lessons and units, and then I get to, share the students with them. So I really get to know our kids and our teachers on a different level, and it is really the most amazing job, and I'm so blessed to have this position here. It is a 6-8 middle school. We are a STEM magnet, so things are a little different here, and it's a lot of fun. I'm also the author of Educational Eye Exam. I'm not going to talk about that book. I'm not here to sell my book. However, if you're interested in my book, you can click on the little book thing down there in the corner, check it out, but like I said, that's not what this is about. AliciaRay.com is where you can find any other of my ramblings there. I've not blogged in a really long time, but if you're curious about what things I do share, it's there. If you're an email person, feel free to email me with any questions, comments, concerns about my sanity at iloveeducating@gmail.com. You can also reach me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at iloveeducating. I'm also on Facebook. However, you really don't want to get into that mess because, it's not where you want to be in your life. Trust and believe on that. Okay. But my Twitter and Instagram, it's pretty legit. So that's me. That's who I am. And I'm really, really excited to be hanging out with you today. Normally, the way that I start every session out is through a form. I like to get to know you. I like for you and I to chat. I like for us to have conversations. I want to share all kinds of good stuff. But look, guys, I got so much awesomeness packed into this that as much as I want to get to know you, we don't have a lot of time for me to fill out a form with you. So what I would love for you to do is if you can just take 15 of your amazingly well-earned seconds and just put in the chat your name, what you teach, and where you're from, that would be amazing. 15 seconds. That's all I need. Boom. See? Look at that. There you are. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, media. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, JROTC, I hear you. Yes. Walter, I'm curious what branch. Nice. Love it. I was an Army JROTC veteran myself. JROTC. Yeah, it was amazing. Drill team commander and color guard commander. Yep. I was the XO my senior year. Fantastic. Finished up as major. Good stuff. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm very proud of those days. My time in JRTC was so formative in everything that I've done from here on out. It's been that was my leadership class is what that was. That was good stuff. Nothing quite like going down, rappelling down a big old wall. Make you realize what a leader does. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for giving me a quick glimpse into your world. I really appreciate that. I see that we have middle school. I see we have a lot of high school. I love that I'm like, okay, 6th grade this year. You are living the world that some of my teachers are living right now. They're like, I ain't got a clue what I'm doing right now. There's some that are like, I know what I did last year. I'm waiting to have my meeting with my principal this year. Yeah, I feel you. I've been amazed at NCBOLD, though, I have to say. I taught elementary school for 10 years, and I've taught, I'm beginning my 6th year in middle school, so this is my 16th year in education. And I have been blown away at the amount of middle and high school teachers that have participated in NCBOLD. I am so impressed. Good for us. Yay us representing. I love it. Okay, so I want you to know, first of all, the format. Thank you for introducing yourselves to me. I really appreciate that, and I would love to be able to get to know all of you on a much deeper level. I love having conversations with educators, and I can't wait to hear what you think about each one of these things. At the end of each of these, like, sections, I guess, I'll come up with a real cool name, but like I said, y'all are my guinea pigs. I don't know what I'm doing at half of this. But at the end of each of these little sections here, these compartments, whatever, notebooks, whatever they're going to be called, I will just take a beat and be like, hey, how can you see using this? Basics, I'm really not going to stop and talk about. But the other 5, we will kind of take a breather and say, you know, what are your thoughts? How do you see using this in your classroom? And we can just type that in the chat bar. Or I know some people have said, you know, this is my travel time. And that's fine. So if you're traveling, if you're on the road, please do not let me contribute to the delinquency of an educator. Just, you know, unmute. Talk to us. Please don't text. That's illegal. So anyway, the way the slideshow is going to work is that in each one of these, you can hover over the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're going to give you 4 different ideas or 4 different concepts that go with that particular idea. So the basics, when you hover over the words, that doesn't give you anything for the basics, but then when you hover over collaboration, it does. So that's going to happen in a few of them. Formatting, it does link to something. Tips and tricks does not, and so forth. Okay, so there's different ways that that's going to work. Just know that this is the idea is for this to be an interactive slide deck. So I just wanted you to see how this works. All right. So slide 1, and again, if you're just joining us, the bit.ly is at the bottom of every slide, so you can see it there. And if anybody joins and, you know, in the middle, whatever, if somebody out there wants to be a gem, because this is Google Sheets is a gem, and wants to like throw that bit.ly in there for them into the chat, like rock on, that'd be awesome. I'm going to put it in here once so that from now on, anybody can just copy and paste that bad boy. All right, so the basics. I am going into this like I'm assuming that you are Jon Snow from Game of Thrones and you know nothing. So in the basics, this is a spreadsheet. Yes, I did. I went there. In a spreadsheet, there are cells, rows, and columns. If you already knew this, stay with me. Give me a minute. I promise I'll blow your mind. Okay. Columns are the things along the top. They go up and down. Okay. Think about the L in a column, Think about columns on a house. They are vertical. Rows go side to side. They are horizontal. Those are numbered. A cell is an individual block within a spreadsheet. And so this one here circled in purple is going to be cell C5 because it's in column C and it's in row 5. The letter comes before the number. It's also going to be referenced up in the top of your spreadsheet. Got it? Good. Moving along. Some of you are probably like, yeah, that's the way it was in Excel too. You're right. You're exactly right. If you're a Microsoft user, this all works the same. There are some things that Excel will do that Sheets will not do, some things that Sheets will do that Excel will not do. So I'm just saying all this works in Google. All of it works in Sheets. I don't use Excel, sorry. I also don't use numbers and I'm presenting on a Mac, so just know that. I love Sheets. So just for future reference, anytime that you see this little house thing in the corner, hopefully it will take you back to the little notebook page, the home page here. All right, number 2, basics. There are sheets and workbooks. Sheets and workbooks are actually quite interesting. Google, I don't think they even know. Google got it wrong. Google should not actually be calling this Google Sheets. It actually should be called Google Workbooks. At the bottom, you'll notice they're called Sheet 1, Sheet 2, Sheet 3, and so forth, because Sheets is actually the things along the bottom. I know that when my folks here, my faculty and staff, when my students, whatever, when we're working with a Google Sheets workbook, and we're talking about these little doohickeys down here on the bottom, we call them tabs. Well, that's not necessarily the correct terminology. It's actually called a sheet. When up here, like I mentioned, template tab, we're going to talk about that later, will become your new best friend. I mean, template tab is incredible. It actually should be called template sheet. Google really messed up right here. It should be called Google Workbook because a workbook is all of these different sheets combined. So a sheet is a singular page of data. And when you have multiple of those like pages or sheets of data, that's called a workbook. Don't believe me? Go into a Google Sheets sheet, go to print, and then look what it asks you to do. It's going to ask you, do you want to print the entire workbook? Yep, sure will, because that's what it's called. Okay, so just know that. If you are ever working with a sheet, though, keep in mind that you can duplicate sheets. You can also copy the sheet to an existing spreadsheet, which is really, really cool. I love the ability to have like one spreadsheet workbook, okay? One that is for the entire year for that group of students. So if I have, let's say I have a first period class and I make a first period class for my fall semester 2021, anything that I collect from them, I can potentially copy to existing worksheet or existing sheet or existing whatever, and then select that I want it to go to, first period fall 21. And it's going to just fall right into line here along the bottom of the tab or the sheets where I want it to go. Pretty cool, right? That would save you from having a bazillion different sheets sitting in your Google Drive. You would just have one that says fall of 2011, first period, or whatever you call it, and then all of your data, all of your information is there in that one spot, and you don't have to try to go find it, right? That in itself, done. You just, that's everything you needed to know. Google Sheets is a gem. Why not have everything in one spot for that group of kids? And then that first sheet can then, maybe, look, I take attendance every single class. I don't care if it's the middle of the day, the end of the day, the beginning of the day. I know in high school, typically you take attendance every day or every period, but in middle school, we're like at my school, our policy is not to take attendance in every single class period. We have 6 different periods. We don't take attendance in every period. It's still that half day business. But I take attendance in every period because I only see the kids every so often. And I want to know who was in that class and who wasn't. So I still take attendance. So my roster is that very first, it would be sheet 1 every single time. So just something to think about, okay? That's just in the basics. The basics, part 3, the freeze button. Freeze is one of your best friends. You're going to love this feature. If you've never used it before, you can see there on the little animation. I love these quick little GIFs that will show you different things about sheets. These were created by Jake Miller. Jake Miller is fantastic. He makes so many amazing GIFs. You can find him on social media at Jake Miller Tech, and on several of these, I'll have him linked or whatever to it. But anyway, freeze is simply if you go up above like the number 1, the row, and that really thick line that you have, if you click that and you drag it, you can pull it down as far as you want it to go, and it will freeze however many rows you've got up to that point. So just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to show you that real quick. So I'm going to share this tab. I just created a new sheet. So I'm in this new sheet. That's all I'm looking at. And so here I have this little guy. We'll talk about this here in a few minutes. But anyway, you see these thicker, bolder lines right here, right? So I can click this and drag it. So I can freeze as many rows as I want. I can also do this with columns. I can click and drag and pull that over. Now, yeah, I can do that here in View, Freeze, and I can tell it where I want it to freeze, but that's a whole lot of clicking, and I don't like to click a whole lot, right? I am a pretty lazy Google Sheets user. I'm a pretty lazy computer user. I like to do stuff as fast as I possibly can, and to be honest, I feel like you probably do too if you're a Sheets user. Normally, my spreadsheet users are people who are like, just give me the data and let me move on, right? And so this is a quick way to do that. What I love about what you're seeing with that GIF is you've got the ability there where you can have your top, so whatever your headings are, you can have those freeze. And then you can also have like your first and last name freeze. So I do that a lot, especially whenever I'm looking at, a year's long attendance, or if I'm looking at a lot of data. I'm also our AIG teacher here. You know how it is, other duties as assigned, right? So I am also our AIG teacher, and so I have a ton of data on my AIG students, and I just keep a running tab, like just a running document just in one spot. And so I literally have their name on, well, I guess A is their student ID, B is their first and last name. So I freeze it after B, and then everything from C on is like classroom data. And so I've got all that information there. It's a very quick way to make your information, freeze. The other great thing it does is when you're trying to sort your, sort whatever it is you've got going on in there, it doesn't factor into the information you're sorting. I love that as well. So if I'm trying to sort this right here by ID, and I want that to go back into 1 through whatever, ID would get shoved down to the bottom or the top, depending on which way you sort it. ID would get to the bottom if you do A to Z. Well, that's not where I want that. I would want it to stay at the top. So I would freeze that row. Pretty cool stuff, and it's very simple to do, and it really will change like everything. So know about freeze. Last, we have basics. So back to filter and sort. one of the things that I always struggled with was the difference between filter and sort. I don't know why I had trouble getting that through my head. Once I did, though, I realized how incredibly simple it was. Like I don't know. I can't explain it, y'all. But filter, this is how somebody finally taught me, and I was like, oh my goodness, how is it taking me this long? Filter allows you to focus on a particular data set, whatever that data set might be. It eliminates everything else from view, right? It limits also in Google Sheets, they have what's called a filtered view, and it will limit what is shared with others. So the view changes, but the list of filter views is shared with whoever it is that you have shared with. So that filter view, they can go through then, and if I've got it filtered, I can filter it if it's, you know, if I'm looking at an administrator level, I've got my test data in right now, right? So if I'm looking at that math test data, and I want to know how my subgroups did, I've got that data in a spreadsheet, whatever. I can filter that data based on each individual subgroup, and then I can go through and create a filter view based on each individual subgroup. So if I have my economically disadvantaged, if I have my EC subgroup, if I have my racial subgroup, whatever my subgroups are, I can create those subgroups, which is pretty amazing. Keep in mind that anytime you do edit that data, it does change for everybody still. I mean, it is still a live document. So that's filtering. Sorting, you're still going to see all of the data. It doesn't limit what you can see. It's still all the data is there, and you just order that data. You put it in some kind of order, whether it's A to Z, least to greatest, or if it's Z to A or greatest to least. So you need to decide, do you want it in ascending or descending order? I will tell you that I have fallen in love with Control Z, and that's one of the first things that I share with my students, or Command Z if you're a Mac user. That's one of the first things that I share with my students, because a lot of times they'll have a small like panic attack if something happens and they move something, or, you know, a lot of times if you have a sort and maybe you forgot to freeze that row, and all of a sudden that row just messed everything up. Well, if you just Control Z, it'll put all your data back the way it used to be. Go ahead and freeze the rows the way you need them to be, and then do your sort again. Just a little helpful hint, because that's something I did. All right, moving on back to home. So those are just some quick basics. Super simple, super simple. So yeah, look at y'all. I love y'all. Yes, Peggy, yes. Peggy needed to know, in case y'all aren't like looking at the chat, Peggy needed to know how to make the columns the same size width after she already had different sizes. So let me give a shout out. Catherine did an amazing job explaining that. And so I can show you that real quick if you're a visual person, because I am. So how do I do that? How do I make my boxes the same size? This little guy, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. It's called an awesome box. We'll get there. This little awesome box right here, if I click on that, I can kind of hover over the line and pull it down to wherever I want it to be. And it changes all of them, everything. Yeah, see that? Isn't that cool? I love that. It makes my heart like just pitter patter. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So just know that that is absolutely an option. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys have any tips like that or any questions like that, like absolutely share those out. That is yes. Yes to all the things. Thank you. That makes my heart so happy. Thank y'all. All right, collaboration. Let's hop into that. Speaking of all the amazing things that's happening. So like you may be like I am, and I share a document or a slides or, God forbid, a spreadsheet with my students. I have a small like coronary when all the kids get into an edit view of a spreadsheet. Like, I just cannot let go of that control because somebody is going to mess it up. Y'all, I'm going to be real with you. I don't even do that mess with teachers. Like, I will release a spreadsheet to a small group and be like, look, I need y'all to go do blah, 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 blah. Everybody else will have view rights. I'm like, I need you to get this done by this day at this time, and I'm going to remove your rights. Again, I'm a digital learning coach. So, like, I do a lot of stuff with the whole school like that with teachers. And so then I'll take like 6th grade rights away, and then I'll give 7th grade rights. All right, 7th grade, I need you to go into your data or your whatever. I need you to do whatever I need you to do with that, whatever the assignment was. Okay, by this day, then I'm going to remove your rights. Okay, 8th grade, I need you to go do your stuff, right? So I also have a fix for that. We're getting there. So anyway, I would go do that. But even then, like, I would constantly find myself having to go back to a former edit view because somebody inevitably mixed something up. They added a new row. They did something with my column. Something happened every time. And it just messed everything up. And I would get so frustrated. And that's with adults. Unleash some middle schoolers on a spreadsheet, and like, you are asking for trouble. So I have some different ideas for things to do with collaboration. I have actually tried these things and they do work. So instead of just releasing them and saying, hey, go, why not assign students a cell? Like, go to them. Of course, explaining, literally, you can use that first slide that I showed you with the basics. Like, put that bad boy up on the screen, right? As long as they know how to work a coordinate grid, they can do that. So go up and, you are A1, you are B1, you are C1, you are D1, you are E1, you are A2, you are B2, whatever. And you can create your spreadsheet to where it is a large space for them to write. Not a problem. You can make each student a cell. You could also use highlighting as a guide. I'm going to kind of skip down a little bit. And you could say, okay, you are writing, your group even is writing in this red cell. Your group is writing in this blue cell. Your group is writing in this yellow cell. And like, visually show them which one it is in case, of course, you have any students that are colorblind. My younger brother was colorblind, so I try to make sure I'm aware of that. You can assign students a particular row or a column. So you could say to a student, like, you are in column A, and I want you to put all of your responses are going to go in column A. If I ask you, if I'm asking you for the response to the first question, I want it in column A, row 1. Your response to the second question should go under column A, row 2. And so once you've done that with kids a couple times, they're going to get used to having that. You can also set up a template to where they can see bold lines and realize this is where those boundaries are. And again, you can use highlighting as a guide to show them this is where I want you to be. You can also assign students a sheet. So think back to those, what we formerly thought as tabs. And so go down to the bottom and assign them a sheet by renaming the sheet as their name, and then have them just go to the sheet and find their name. Quickest way to do it, I usually, because I have the whole school. So I would do 6th grade, and then I would do it by last name, comma, first name, so it's in alphabetical order. And then, like, I dare them to move them around, which usually means somebody will. But I try really hard to make sure they don't, and I stress to them the importance of that. However you want to logistically work that. If you have lucked up somehow and your prayer life's right or whatever, and you got 20 youngins and none of them have the same first name, good on you, then you can really just put their first name, and you could put it in alphabetical order or however it is you choose to do it. So the kids then can easily find their name along the bottom. No problem. Whatever you choose to do, I very much suggest starting small and always protect your sheet. Every time I say that, I kind of giggle. I can't help it. I love it. So let's look at some different ways you can collaborate with students inside your classroom. So first of all, research. I am a school librarian. It's what we do. So in research, let's say when I click on that, and you guys have access to click on anything, hopefully your access rights are set correctly. So, you know, crazier things have happened, and I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't midnight, 1 a.m. whenever I was doing this. So if your access rights are not correct, just, you know, be real sweet and let me know. I tried. I checked like 5 times, but I may have overlooked it. So here's a research database. This is just one example of how you could have students do this. So I can say, you know, Billy, I want you to do, or they could sign up even. That's even better, right? Because then you've got buy-in. But, you know, Billy, I want you to do Alabama. Jayara, I want you to do Arkansas. Maybe Davin, I want you to do Florida. Caden, I want you to do Iowa. You know, whatever. And so I assign the student a state name, and then they go do the research that aligns with that state. So then they automatically know, like, this is where I need to go. Notice that I tried to keep it where they can't go any further than exactly what's here. So I didn't want them to be in a situation where they've got to tab over and tab back and all that stuff. I wanted it to be like just the width of the page. Now I did set up where the text wrapping, I have it set to overflow. Overflow just means it's going to continue past the cell. I can easily go through again by clicking like this awesome box right here. And I can change this from overflow to clip, or what we used to think of as truncate. So where they can type all day long, but it's wherever it ends at this line is where it's going to end. Okay, so it doesn't keep flowing into the next box, but I can still read it up here. Once all the data is in, then I could go in and again click on my little awesome box up here, and I would change all that to be wrapped. So now I can see it all in one space. Now, a state research database is not clearly the only way to do this. I can use any kind of research to do this, right? I could research careers. I could research plants and animals. I could research, y'all literally, like, you dream it, you can use this. This is literally just a template, okay? Just take out state names, abbreviations, blah, 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 and put in whatever it is that you're wanting them to research. Notice how, like in column E for 2020 population, I gave them a link to exactly where I wanted them to go to find the 2020 US Census. So maybe you're somebody who uses NCWiseOwl frequently, and if you don't, I highly suggest it because it's amazing. If that's something that you use, then you could absolutely link the exact database that you want them to use. There's all kinds of stuff that you can link in here that will make things a lot easier for you. So there you go. There's a quick way to do to use Google Sheets collaboratively, and hopefully not have that small, like the heart palpitations whenever you share it with the students. Oh, look, I did it. Oh man, I knew I was going to do that. I was very excited about my 1, 2, 3, 4, so I wanted to utilize that. Okay, this fancy schmancy little something here was brought to us by my dear friend Eric Kurtz, and when I say my dear friend, I literally mean that. I love Eric Kurtz. Southern Shock Mountain Dew from the Bojangles. If you've not, and you're into drinking soda, this. It's done an educator good today. Moving on. Eric Kurtz is your Control-Alt-Achieve fella. You're going to see him interspersed in here just like Jake Miller Tech. Fantastic resource, especially for Google Sheets. This is an activity that he had that I just absolutely love. If you are a math teacher, and I saw a couple of math teachers here, I know that you have very likely, if you have ever introduced pi and taught your students about pi, you have very, very likely had them measure the circumference, measure the diameter, and figure out if you take the circumference and you divide it by the diameter, you're going to find out that it's 3.14159, blah, 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 right? Okay, so this allows you to number students, give them all the different objects you could ever want them to have, and every student then would be responsible for measuring an object, putting that information into, you know, they measure their circumference of their paper plate, they measure their diameter of their paper plate, and then the sheet will automatically go in and give you the ratio. And then it's going to calculate the average ratio. Or actually, this one you might have to calculate the ratio for you. It really depends on, even if it doesn't automatically do it, you could have it automatically do it. I guess that's going to be up to you as the teacher. Just set up a formula, whatever. So you can click on this picture, this image right here. It's going to have you make a copy of Discovering Pi. It's going to give you all the information for what you need to do to make that happen, Captain. And then down at the bottom here, you're going to have a quick little YouTube video that you can watch, and Eric explains it all. I'm not going to get into it for the sake of time, and also because it is, it really is kind of one of those content specific pieces where I can't think of a million different ways to use this in different content areas. So moving right along, but that's awesome for math teachers. All right, number 3, Scavenger Hunt, also for math teachers-ish, but there are ways that other teachers could use this. So if you click on the shapes here, because, you know, Scavenger Hunt, it forces you to make a copy of the NCBOLD Shapes Scavenger Hunt. So if you do that, then you are going to actually see, oh, I lost my way. Story of my life. La 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 la, come on. Here you go. So you're going to see Scavenger Hunt for shapes. And this can be, I put in all the shapes that I saw based on K-8 curriculum, okay? So you could go in and actually make this whatever you need it to be. So square, circle, triangle, rectangle, hexagon. Apparently I put squares twice because I was feeling overzealous. Again, we're not going to talk about what time it was. Trapezoid, half circle, rhombus, parallelogram, block, okay? Then I have 3D, again, on a separate sheet along the bottom. So the idea with this, though, is, you know, a lot of times, I did this all the time in elementary school when I taught 5th grade. I would actually have them, instead of go look for a triangle, they had to go find an isosceles triangle, scaling triangle, and a right triangle, an obtuse triangle, an acute triangle, equilateral triangle, whatever. They had to go find specific types of triangles. Well, they would all go find the same daggone triangle because they would see each other go to the same daggone triangle, and then it was kind of anticlimactic because everybody had the same triangle listed on their list. And I was like, come on, y'all, get creative. Like, you can make a triangle out of anything. And so this would allow them, if they're creating this collaboratively, if one student puts that particular triangle, if they sorry, I forgot I wasn't sharing this tab. My bad. I'm really trying to do better with that. If they put this in that particular triangle, then another student then could not use that object that had already been used. They know that they've got to go find another object. And so this would then become a scavenger hunt for the entire class. And the goal would be to see where can you find the most. So it's not a competition between the students. It's not who can find the most, but it actually becomes a competition where it's really competition between the shapes, which are an inanimate object, and they can't have their feelings hurt, hopefully. So now the kids are actually working together to try to find more of the trapezoid shape, because we like trapezoids more than we like squares or whatever, right? And so you can do the same thing with 3D. You could do the same idea, the exact same idea with simple machines. You could do the same type of idea with genres of books. You could do the same idea with types of government or countries that do blank or whatever, right? There's tons of different ways that you could turn this scavenger hunt into something that would relate to your content area. So you make it whatever you feel like making it, but there you are. If you choose to use it, yay. If not, My feelings aren't hurt. It's okay. I love you anyway. Oh man. And I do that too. Look at y'all. See? Y'all touching my soul right now. Y'all gotta quit making me love you. You gotta quit. You gotta quit. Ignore this thing that's getting ready to pop up. It's what I do so I can get back to where I was. There we go. For some reason, I've got two different, anyway, I'm not even going there. Forget it. It's a thing. All right, collaboration number 4, protect your sheet. See, look at y'all. Like y'all are already with it. So, what Michelle was just asking, I love this. Michelle says, is there a way to assign or link a sheet to a group, like for a competition in class, without another group seeing the same sheet in the workbook? So Catherine says you can lock the sheets so that only certain groups or people can write on them, and you can hide the sheets from view. Now, the issue is, though, people are still going to be able to see them. So you're going to have to figure out a way to where you tell the kids, like, hey, you just don't look and you're on the honor system. Really, that's kind of what it comes up to. If you hide the sheet from view from one of them, you're going to hide the sheet from view from all of them. Now, unless, correct me, tell Catherine, fix me. Honestly, please, 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 please fix me. I don't know that I can, like, if I've got group A and group B and group C, and I protect group A's sheet and only group A can write on it, I don't know that I can prevent group B from seeing that sheet. I think I can just keep them from being able to write on it. They can't edit it, but they can still view it because it's in the same workbook. Could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong. But that's a great question. And if that can't be done, Michelle, I would highly recommend making that suggestion. Yes, thank you, Tamara. Yeah. Yes, Catherine, that same. So I would highly recommend making that recommendation to Google, because I will tell you, I don't know very many companies the size of Google that will listen to educators quite like Google does. A lot of the things we've asked for is they're rolling out in their newest updates. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah. So speaking of hiding, protecting sheets, if that's something that you're not familiar with, again, this nice little gift from my dear friend Jake Miller Tech. This shows you how to protect the sheet. It's a quick gift that will kind of walk you through it. It's a fairly simple process. I'm not gonna really walk you through it because this gift does a great job of it in a lot less time. So just know that protecting your sheet is really going to help you out. You can protect a range within a sheet. You can protect a cell. So I have used this where, like, if I give directions to a kid, I can protect those directions. So if I do like that, the scavenger hunt that I was just showing, you better believe I'm going to protect those directions. I'm going to set that up where kids can't edit that mess, because you know as well as I do, they're going to go in, they're going to be clicking on that bad boy, right? So I'm going to protect that where they can't touch it, they can't edit it, and it's going to pop up and it's going to tell them, like, yeah, you can't do anything to this. Oh. But they can edit the rest of it. And I may go in, and it might be one of those situations where it's a lot of work on me, but I don't know of any other way to do it. I might go in then, and every so often I might just go protect the things that are already listed so that someone else can't go edit that stuff later and say, oh, that wasn't ever there, I'm going to move it. You know, kids are sneaky. I don't know that you know that. Totally kidding. So anyhow, so there's that information. These are ways that I use it collaboratively. So let's take just a beat. I'm gonna take about 30 seconds. You get your really fast typing fingers ready. How can you see using any of these collaborative ideas or other ideas that maybe you've already used in the classroom with Google Sheets? Go. Think time is not my strong suit. I'm just going to tell y'all that. It's bad. It's so bad. Peggy, bless your soul. Thank you. She's like, y'all, the ladies sitting there dancing. Somebody type some. Awesome. Thank you. This is that moment where we were all face to face. Somebody would be like, just say something. Y'all, she ain't going to move on until somebody says something. I love this group. Awesome. Yes. Very good. Very good. All right, cool. Yep. Okay. So y'all just keep on keeping on. You do you, because whatever it is you have to say is probably going to be something that triggers somebody else. And go, oh my God, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, I'm moving on. Formatting. All right, so, back up. Rewind. Formatting, clicking on that conditional formatting. If you have never used conditional formatting, if you just click on the formatting word, it's going to show you just a quick, very brief GIF that shows you what conditional formatting is and where to get it at, because I'm not going to go through all that, okay? Conditional formatting basically will format based on the condition that you give it, okay? And surprise, it can be found under the format menu. I love how they make these things easy on us. Okay, so that's all there. Feel free to check that out. I'm just going to move on with the assumption that if you need to know about conditional formatting and what it is and where to find it, you can watch that nice little GIF. That GIF is actually provided from Google, which is really, really cool. So let's look at number one. One of the things that I use conditional formatting for is in my form responses for correct and incorrect answers. So what I will do is I will go ahead as soon as I've got my Google form set up. Once my Google form is set up, now I'll be totally transparent with you about this. This is actually a Google form that I set up for my 7th grade teachers, and it's very differentiated, and it's like three different sections that I've merged into one. So it was a lot of copying and pasting, but the idea is still the same. So what I would do then is I would go through and I would highlight the range of the section that I know the correct answer to, and then I would go to my format, conditional formatting, and I would type in what the correct answer is. To make my life even easier, if I know what my correct answer contains, I'm only going to write a word or two so that I don't have to write out that entire thing. So like here, I know that my correct answer was introduction, paragraphs 1 through 3. So for me, I just wrote out INTR or whatever, so that I knew that if it said INTR, that was the correct answer. Like nothing else in here had INTR in the response. So, but anyway, as the answers were coming in, then I knew that those were that they were going to go ahead and register for me as correct or incorrect. Okay, so that when I go back and I look at my responses real quick, I know immediately what was right and what was not right just by looking here versus going in and looking at the summary responses. If you're more of a spreadsheets person, this will be your more visual cue than the other is. For some people, that's not the case, and that's okay. Just know that that is an option, okay? All right, formatting part 2, grading and percentage scale. So I can go in and I can set up a scale. Now I've removed all the names here, so if you're an administrator or whatever, like try not to freak out on me for a minute. This is AIG test data, but there are no students, no nothing on here, like you can't tell who's who or what's what, okay? So breathe for me. So I have on here some different AIG test data. I told you, like, it's a running sheet, right? So I have some conditional formatting that's set up in this section, columns I through L. And in that conditional formatting, I have it set up where a value greater than or equal to 116, which at the time was our format. That was on our formatting. That was one of our conditions of being considered AIG. And if you're AIG, you know that there's different conditions for like all 115 different public school districts. We're all different. It's insane. But anyway, then I had it bold and turn it green for me. So I knew like, hey, this kid, this is where they need that information. I also went in, and in this case, I went in and for any student that was in the 90th percentile or above, I went in and made sure that their EOG test data in the 90th percentile or above was green. And if it was in the 80th percentile or above, it was kind of this weird looking banana color. Anything other than that was just left white because I'm not that concerned about it. Now, my watch list was a little bit different. My watch list is full of students that I'm like, hey, I really need to keep an eye on this kid because they could possibly qualify moving forward. I want to make sure they don't fall through cracks. So instead, I have them on a color scale. So that color scale allows me to look at test scores, and I have it set up where the maximum value, the minimum value, it auto-populates all this information for me. So my max point was actually 99%. It's going to be green. That's like, for me, green means go. My minimum point is actually 40 because, or no, 39 was my low point. So it's red, and then it auto-calculates for me the midpoint. But what's great about this is I can actually change my midpoint. So what if I don't want anybody that, you know, they're not going to qualify if they're 77? So what if I make that an 80 instead? Well, then I can change this to an 80. And so it has to be someone who has a bright yellow. If there's any tinge of orange to it, whatever, then I know that they won't qualify. So I don't need to be specifically concerned with that particular student. I could actually go in here and change this to a 90. I can improve it even more, and then they're really going to stick out to me. So this is information that I can use that is modifiable pretty immediately for me, just using conditional formatting. Okay, so there you go. That's another way that I can absolutely use conditional formatting, and it is of great value to me. Okay, so third way that I use conditional formatting, self-graded assessments. Holy moly, I love these things. North Carolina trivia. Go ahead, click that, and make a copy. It's not as impressive unless you see this work. So if you click this and you make a copy, I'm going to share the tab so you can see it. If you're in a situation where you can't make a copy right now, or you just really are not feeling it, it's late, you don't want to get into it. Capital of North Carolina. Well, by golly, that's Wilmington. What? It's red. Man, I thought it was Wilmington. I need a hint. I click hint. Oh, Sir Walter. Well, it ain't Sir Walter Wilmington. Oh, that was Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh. Look at that. I got it right. Largest city in North Carolina. Oh, that's got to be Wilmington. Yeah? No. Wrong again. Give me a hint. The Queen City. Oh, yeah. Charlotte. Yes, that's correct. And so I can continue through here. Now, check this out. Let's say I don't know the NFL team. I don't even know anybody worthy of being able to say they're the NFL team. Golly, this is killing me. Dolphins, whatever. Okay, nope. So that is incorrect. I want a hint. I can give them a link that will allow them to find that, right? Okay, so what if I go in and this sweet something, I don't have a clue what that is, so I look for a hint, gives me a link to a YouTube video to Sweet Caroline when we actually were winning. So the NFC championship, okay, that was pretty cool. State that borders North Carolina to the north, I can put an image into my cell simply now by going into Insert, Image. There's an option to put image in cell or image over cells. I want it in the cell, so I can put image in cell. Now, how in the heck did I make that happen? Well, I'm going to go to View, Hidden Sheets. There's a key. So in that key, I have my correct answers, my hints, and then it tells you exactly how to put this information in. This template is from Kurtz once again, and more information and details are listed there in the template. So even if you made a copy, that key is there. Just go to the View, Hidden Sheets, and you'll see the key listed. All right. So that's pretty cool. You can set that up to be, oh man, I did it again. You can set that up to be whatever it is that you want that to be. That is a really, really cool feature within Google Sheets that I didn't even consider. Didn't even think about the possibilities there. Man, I have so much cool stuff to share and not a lot of time to share it. Okay, I know that we didn't have a whole lot of elementary folks with us, so I'm going to breeze through this. A phonics and spelling station. Here, I just have it listed like identify the beginning sound, and I did conditional formatting to where if there's nothing there, it's highlighted to draw the kids' attention to it. I use that same image feature. So now they want to focus on that beginning sound, hat. And so they've got to put an H in there. Mat. So they put the M in there and so forth. Along the bottom of that particular workbook, you'll see on there like there's find the vowel, and I actually created like a drop down within the cell where you can see it'll give you the option which short vowel sound fits in the middle. And so you have the options of A, E, I, O, U. And so then the student can choose which vowel sound goes there. And we'll look in a few minutes at how to make that drop down box an option. Okay. So in the interest of time, because holy moly, it is already 4:30 and we are like rocking and rolling. I'm going to breeze right on through. If you have any questions or any thoughts about how to use formatting, please feel free to stick those into the chat. I really, really cannot stand being in a presentation where all they do is tell me ways to use something, and here I am doing it. But I hope that there's like ideas and like things going off in your head like crazy right now for ways you could use this. Anywho, all right. Templates. So in templates, I hover over. I don't have a way that there's not a link in templates. So that's nice. All right. So number one, first way that, first link to templates that we've got. If I were a template, where would I be? Oh, come on. Are you going to be ugly to me? It is legitimately locking up on me here. I told y'all my internet went down earlier today, and if my internet is going down again, well, you won't see me ugly cry because I won't be on here. Never mind. Well, I'll be ugly crying on my side of it. How about that? Weird. Okay, you know what? There's more than one way to do this. There you go. Okay. Just going to go through it like this and not even try to tempt any kind of crazy that might come out of this. So Mad Libs. I used to love Mad Libs when I was a kid. If you click on this, I am literally not going to click on it because I'm not going to try to freak my computer out any more than I am. It has on here some descriptions. One of the things that students are really, really, really struggling with, I have found, is parts of speech. If you are an ELA teacher, you know this to be fact. So parts of speech, they really, really, really need some help on. I love the fact that this gives a description and tells what that part of speech is to kind of reiterate that. The kid can just write in an answer there in the cell, and then down along the bottom in the sheet, it gives like the second, well, probably I'm gonna have to click on it, aren't I? Yep, sure am. Okay. I don't do visuals, sorry. I mean, I can't tell you things without showing you a visual. Along the bottom, you have your story. And so now you have like answer one was so blank to celebrate Halloween this year. Answer one had spent. So whatever it is I put in answer one, the name of the person that I know, Sophie. So I go back to my story, and anywhere that I have answer one, it's now going to change to that name. So cool, right? So what I can do is I can actually go in and I can change this description to be whatever it is that I want this to be. And then I could go in and rewrite the code up here to whatever it is I want it to be. and kind of use what they have to help me understand how to make this into my own. And then maybe I don't want it to be a Halloween Mad Lib. Maybe I want it to be a beginning of school Mad Lib, and I can make it into that, right? So there you are. There's a template that you can use for the beginning of school, should you choose to. All right, seating chart. It kind of makes me laugh to look at this and think of 24 kids in a classroom now, because I can't imagine 24 kids in a classroom. Like, wow. I am hopeful that somebody gives me 24 kids in a classroom when we come back in August. I'm hopeful that we come back in August. So I'm still like stressed about that, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But anyhow, if you just create a basic generic seating chart, what I love about this is it's really not about the space, but it's about who's sitting with who. Now, I know that some people, especially when we're getting into middle and high school, you may not have a seating chart. You may just say, hey, sit wherever you want to, and have at it, right? Like, I am with you. But you may have a situation where you need to make a seating chart. Well, if you click on this, you can make that seating chart and keep up with who's sitting where. Maybe you need to make this for a substitute. Maybe you just need to let a sub know, like, this is where they usually sit. I don't know, right? So you can use this as whatever it is you might need to use it for. If you need to add more into it, take less into it, whatever, it's there. If you choose to use it, seating chart is a good idea. There it is. All right, launch cycle. This is something that I used after I read, I'm looking at my bookshelf when I turn to the side here. I read Launch by A.J. Giuliani and John Spencer. This book is actually called The Launch Book, and it's based on a design thinking model called Launch. L, look, listen, learn. A, ask tons of questions, and so forth. You can see it on the slides if you're looking at it. And so I created this for each student because they were working on their own like Genius Hour projects, but I was getting really overwhelmed because I didn't know where each student was at within their project. And there were so many kids doing so many different projects, I couldn't keep up with it. So I created this so that the kids could just give me a blurb about where they were. And then I used checkboxes within Google to let me know, like, okay, I am done with the L section, and this is what I did. I'm done with the A section. This is what I asked, or this is what I did. And so for a lot of these, maybe they created maybe they had their questions listed in a Google Doc. They just linked the Google Doc for me right there. So I could see what their thought process was, and it just kept it way more organized for me. I did find that my students loved being able to do it like this, because they told me it kept them more focused. They knew what their next step was going to be. They knew who their audience was. They knew when they were expected to have it done, so forth and so on. So if you're a Genius Hour kind of person, feel free to take something like this and modify it. Maybe you don't use Launch. If you don't have a design thinking plan, I certainly highly recommend that plan. But if your school has their own plan that they already implement, you can absolutely remove that design thinking and put your own in there. Of course, if you don't have 6 classes in your schedule, then you can change that too, whatever. This is just a template that you can use for your own needs. Template tab, holy moly. This is one that you have to see in action to truly appreciate all the things that Template tab has to offer. You just have to see it. So Template tab, let me see where, yeah. So if you click on that, it's actually just going to take you to the Google Workspace Marketplace. I'm trying to figure out where I linked my sheet. I know, yeah, there it is, demo in my speaker notes. I know I did that. All right, so I'm going to share this tab with you. So this is that same launch plan that I had for you. And so I have a list of names here, right? So this is my list of names. These are some of the students that I was working with, Billy, Nancy, Jayara, whatever, right? So it's an add-on that I can run, Template tab by Alice Keeler, and I want to show my sidebar. So I've already gone to the marketplace and I got that. I'm going to set up my sheet first. So if I set up my sheet, it tells me how to do that. Thank you. That's amazing that you do that for me. put my roster here, okay? So I'm gonna grab my names and I'm gonna put those here, okay? Then my template, it's already there. Thank you, Alice. That's amazing. I'm just going to delete that sheet because I really don't need it. My roster is here. My template is here. This is what I want to assign to every student. Mind blown happens now. Now I'm going to click on Run Template tab. Watch what happens along the bottom. What? Did you see that? Did you see that? I hope your minds are blown. So now along the bottom, I no longer have listed, right? I don't have, oops, view, hidden sheets. That roster and template are now hidden. Now all I have, oh, here's Billy's template. Here's Nancy's template. Here's Jara's template. Here's Jackson's template. Here's Manuel's template. Here's Davin's. Here's Aljanay's, and so forth. So now I can close out my template tab because that is done. And I can now go to Billy's tab and I can click on his little drop down and I can go to Protect Sheet. And now I want to set the permissions. And now only Billy and I can work on Billy's sheet. Then I'm going to go to Nancy's sheet. And I'm going to set up Nancy's sheet where only she and I can work on Nancy's sheet, right? Look at that. I've just made my whole class the ability to work on their Genius Hour project with nobody else being able to mess with it. But like we said earlier, they are going to be able to see what's going on, okay? That's amazing, right? Love Template tab. It truly is. If you want to make something quick and pass it out, it's like passing out papers to students. Holy moly. Pixel art. Eric Kurtz has this amazing pixel art template, basically, of 26 different colors. Eric can be found at Eric Kurtz, or you can go to control-alt-achieve.com, I believe, and you can find all kinds of information from Eric Kurtz, but he really has some amazing pixel art information. You can get his, basically, it's like all the things. I mean, 26 A through Z and how to do it and what to do with it. All of that right there by clicking on that tab or that image, okay? Pixel art in math. This is pretty cool. It's going to take you to Lindsay Bowden or Lindsay Bowden. Not really sure how to say her name, but either way, I am digging her stuff. So what I really value about her is that she takes you through step by step how to make your own pixel art, and I really appreciate that. I love the fact that, like, I might not know how to make pixel art, but I can sure follow her steps, and it makes perfect sense, right? That's good stuff. That's it. She gave me all that for free, and I can go make whatever in the world I want to. Everybody else seems to be going, oh man, look at me, I forgot to share the tab again. Y'all, I'm sorry. I hope that you clicked on the link. That's what I was showing you. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Okay, so anywho, she's amazing. What I love though is that a lot of folks will say, hey, go to My Teachers Pay Teachers, and they're just gonna give you template after template after template. But they're really not gonna show you how to do it. And I love the fact that she takes you step by step in how to do it. Now, she still tells you, hey, you can go and, you can go check my stuff out, and I appreciate that. But I love the fact that she tells me how to do it and how to make my own. So that is pixel art and math. And I don't teach math. Yeah, I feel you. Me neither. You can still use it. Instead of putting in the number, like she tells you down in her blog to put like equals, custom formula is equals $B $2. And she says to put equals a number. Don't put equals a number. Put equals in quotations, and you can put your vocabulary word or whatever it is you're looking for within the parentheses. Nope, that should say quotation marks. I'm sorry. Again, that was midnight. I'll fix that, I promise. I'm gonna go edit that in the presentation like right now, as soon as we finish. That should say within quotation marks right here, okay? Put that within quotation marks, and you can make this into a vocabulary, a skill set, a timeline. In social studies, in science, you can make it into anything to do, like I think about chemistry, using the periodic table, that kind of thing. So much good stuff using pixel art. What if we made kids make these? That would be incredible. So I wanted to show you real quick. Google, I'm going to share this tab. I'm going to do good. Google for Education actually has applied digital skills. They have an entire lesson designed for students. This is made with kids in mind, y'all. They click, like you give them this link for middle and high school. They click start, and it literally gives them a video that I'm not going to play for you. And they learn how to make these pixel art things into the revealable pixel art. It's so cool. So what if kids were making this rather than you making it? And so kids make them, and then you just share them. Share your pixel art with somebody else, and then you don't even have to worry about making it. Yeah, check please. Love it. Okay. All right, so tips and tricks real quick. This is from Jake Miller Tech. If you are a teacher anywhere, translations are something that are super important. If you wanted to translate within sheets, you could absolutely do that. Check this out. Jake Miller Tech walks you right through how to do that into any language that is within Google Translate. You just need to go look up what that code is within Google Translate to figure out what your target language would then be. And I just think that is super cool, especially if you are a foreign language teacher. You can create these entire databases of what do you want, like what vocabulary do they need to know. If you are a content teacher and you have students that speak, if you have any student that is an EL student, you can create for them a list of all your content vocabulary. I mean, wow. And so then they're sitting there like, oh yeah, I know this word actually. I just didn't realize that I knew this word in my language. And so I thought like that is insanely simple rather than having to go type every single word into Google Translate and then trying to like copy and paste, like just do it in sheets. Awesome. Tips and tricks number 2, awesome box. We already talked about that. That's that little box up in the top corner between your rows and your columns. Data validation, this is what I was talking about earlier. If you go to data and then you go down to data validation, and when that pop-up box comes up, change your criteria to list of items and put your list of items based on, put a comma in between each thing. It's going to give you a drop-down list in your cell if you check that box. So then students can only pick from the things that you have listed. So I have used this actually in my library while I've been doing a re-genreification of the library. So I have a whole drop down of different genres that I have available in the library. So a kid picks up a book and they're like, okay, I think this goes in this genre, and they pick where they believe it goes. So that's been a really cool experience for kids to be able to determine where they believe a book goes. Pretty cool stuff. So you just click save and there it is. If it's an invalid data, meaning it's something that does not fit the list, it's going to show a warning, but you can tell it like, do you want it to show a warning? Yes, but still allow them to put it in there. Or do you want it to completely reject it? And then it's like, no, I'm sorry, you have to pick something from the drop-down list. So that's something that, again, is up to you. Pretty good stuff. And then finally, tip 4, this is just one of my pet peeves. When you have a huge, especially if it's a huge list of data, like a whole school list of names, and you got 1,000 rows of information, and you've only used 300 of them, please go to the very first row that's blank and highlight all the way down to that 1000th row, and then right click and click delete rows, and do the same thing with the columns. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, I think, to be scrolling like mad and then like scroll past the last row of data. If you're somebody that works in spreadsheets a lot, hopefully you're like, preach, sister, because that is really something that just, there's been a few administrators that I've worked with that they're like, I'm so glad that you delete rows, and I'm not the only person out there that does that, because that is something that drives me nuts. And I'm like, yes, and that was a bonding moment for us. So I'm just asking on behalf of all of God's children, please, please delete the rows and the columns that you're not using. You can put them back. You can put them back by right-clicking and doing a add row or add column. You can even put it on the right or the left or the top or the bottom, your choice. But anyway, so I hope that you have heard something today that has been like, whoa, this is something that I could absolutely use in my classroom. This is something in Google Sheets that I never, ever, ever thought of being able to do. I love this. Again, I'm Alicia Ray. If you need anything at all, I love educating at gmail.com. You can reach me on social media, on Twitter or Instagram, to get your ability to get, oh, whoa, you got crazy there, screen. If you would like credit and you have got that nice little app on your phone, go ahead and scan that right fast, and it should give you session credit. Otherwise, I am going to attempt to put this bit.ly in there. I know that it's been given problems earlier. Hopefully it's not a problem now, but if it is, know that the powers that be are aware that it's an issue and they are working to fix it. Thank you so much, Tamara. I appreciate that so much. There's just a lot of information just thrown at you, but I appreciate that so much. There's the feedback form. Again, that was another one that was giving them some issues, but if it works, please feel free to give some feedback. I'd love to know what you love and what you want to change, especially since it's the first time I've ever done this session. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for being here, Peyton. I'm glad. Entertaining's for sure. Oh, boy. If I'm nothing else, it's crazy. Thank you for being here, Jamie. I've loved seeing your name in the sessions. This has been great. I hope to actually meet some of you in person sometime. I will be, thank you, Tracy. It's been great. I'll be at NC Ties. If any of you are there, come check me out. So, oh yeah, me neither, Catherine. I didn't either. I wish that I had thought about that when I needed it. I don't need it now, but if I did, I've got it. So yeah. Thank y'all so much for being here. I hope you have an awesome weekend. I'm gonna like go home and crash. I'm done. Thank you, Diana. Thanks for being here. Oh, thank you, Ms. Blunt. I appreciate that.